So I'm here in the beautiful Dammam Heritage Village. Traditional food, beautiful decor. There's a museum upstairs. You should come visit.
The Heritage Village in Dammam, eastern Saudi Arabia, showcases the diverse heritage of the country and its main regions. The building itself is built with 5 areas. They're called village corners. One which is representing the culture and showcasing the Najd and northern part of Saudi Arabia, one representing the eastern part of Saudi Arabia, one representing the Hijaz, which is where you have Mecca and Medina, one representing the region of Baha and Ta'if, sort of just east of Mecca, and one representing the southwestern Asir province. The center sort of, epitomizes the strategy Saudis are taking to break away from the sort of reductionist vision which would frame the kingdom as, simply a mix of religious conservatism and petrol-driven consumerism. Arabian culture is much, much more than that. The challenge today is to find what remains of that culture and what has been perpetuated despite the radical transformation that happened to the country in the mid-20th century, as we can see in this video produced in 1948.
Such is the story of the oil itself. But there is another story, the story of people. For all the time the oil job was being done, there was the problem of making life more livable. For in spite of heat and flies and hardship and monotony, these men had come, and they had vowed they would stay, and they set about to make good their vow.
Much of the flashy lifestyle that we see today in Saudi Arabia and places like Dammam and the modern infrastructure that we see is the result of the collaboration between the Saudis and the Americans that we can see celebrated in this vintage video. But now let's think about the heritage that has survived and how it's been transformed. Okay, so let's begin our tour and walk into the main lobby and reception area. As is typical in Arabian hospitality, the first thing we come across when we enter the building is the complimentary light roast yellow coffee with blends of spices such as saffron and cardamom and cloves. Usually it's served with dates, but tonight it's coffee only. My wife and I are enjoying the spacious area and looking for a place to settle in and have our meal. All right, I think we'll have one of these little booths to the side. Having selected our dishes for our much anticipated evening meal, my wife and I settle in. She doesn't really like to be on camera, but she does like to film me and the surrounding area to get into the action of appreciating the environment in which we are. Because the thing about the Heritage Village is it's not some sort of dead museum. No, we're appreciating it, the culture and the heritage, as active participants. All right, the food is here. Being on the seaside, Dammam's a good place to have some seafood. We're having the battered shrimp, but also the Arabian rice and chicken, always delicious. Bismillah. MashaAllah. Check out this freshly baked flatbread. Made on the premises.
MashaAllah.
In addition to the tables and booths in the big hall where we're having our meal, there's a whole series of little rooms that you can rent for the evening. And each room is uniquely decorated in a specific style of, different localities in the Arabian Peninsula, in particular Saudi Arabia. There's so many rooms, so many styles. It's a real pleasure to just walk around, and if there's nobody in them, look into them and take a picture or a video shot of these different rooms. So, enjoy with us. There's also big event halls for weddings and celebrations of various sorts, but we're not really going to look at that this evening. Instead, let's go to another level into the museum area. Here we have some beautiful examples of Quran, the sacred text of Islam, in different types of format and from different time periods. This is the way students learn to write Quranic verses. Here you have some beautiful pottery, old shields and weapons and body armor, an interesting juxtaposition of a 20th century sort of scene with a traditional wooden door, but the Coca-Cola cooler right there, right, and the electric fan. The museum is really an eclectic sort of collection of all sorts of items from various time periods, including stamps and money and jewelry and press clippings and just really all sorts of, fun things to look at. It's not, the world's greatest museum, but, for an evening after a nice meal, it's really informative and fun. There's a section with sort of 3D, miniature villages, such as the ones you see here representing the eastern region, and of course, traditional crafts. This classic Cadillac once belonged to none other than the King of Saudi Arabia. American luxury is always well appreciated in this part of the world. I like the view of the lobby and the dining area from the upper level. Anyway, now let's go to the village market. This little section of the heritage village, gives us yet another glimpse into Arabian visions of the good life, Arabian understandings of beauty and comfort and style and fashion, utility. In the village market area, there's a village cafe on a terrace. It was too dark out for me to get a good shot, but I have a shot of the entrance going back into the building, as you can see, from the perspective of the terrace. Back in the village market, there's like these reconstitutions of, looks like, mid to late 20th century shops with all sorts of vintage items. I'm not sure if these things are for sale or if it's just for show, but anyway, it continues to put us in the mood of heritage. Heritage, of course, being anything in the past, right? It doesn't have to be 300-400 years ago or 1,000 years ago to be part of our heritage. And here in the Heritage Village, you have objects from a very long time ago and objects from just a few decades ago. Well, that was a nice evening at the Heritage Village in Dammam. And with one look back, I think to myself, heritage is nice. But, Saudi Arabia, one of the things about Saudi Arabia is you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have your Arabian heritage. But if you miss Canada, there's always a Tim Hortons not too far away. And that is really the balance Saudi Arabians are trying to achieve between cosmopolitanism, modernity, technology, customs, tradition, religion. It's not easy, but it's really fascinating and an honor to be a part of this effort in this part of the world to balance the past with the present and visions of the future and harmonizing all of those visions of the good life. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please share the love with others by liking, and share the love with me by giving me some comments. Obviously, when you subscribe or like or give comments, it also allows the algorithms to share this with more and more people. All right, everybody. Salam alaikum.